Okay, so I'm experimenting with Loom. Anyway, someone asked me to record a video on how to get a rent-to-rent video with landlords, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll put together a beautiful presentation. So without further ado, we'll go straight into it. So this is exactly what I tell landlords. So I was actually having a few. Oh, it's actually quite hard to, as a beginner, get properties from rent-to-rents from landlords if you're going to use Airbnb. At the end, I'll tell you exactly how I got my first one and why I don't think you should do that anyway. But I will tell you exactly what I say to landlords to. If you look at this list, these are all the properties I get in East London, South London, North London, West London, outside of London. And that was just for January, and there's the same list for February and March. So I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so what I tell landlords is I offer them guaranteed rent, hands off management, zero fees, zero commission. And the only responsibility of the landlord is boiler and structural maintenance. Now, if you don't know what this means, basically, if a landlord wants to rent their property, you're a bit of a commodity because they can either go with agents, traditional letting agents, they can go direct to a tenant through platforms like OpenRent, or they can work with a company. Those are their kind of, and then friends. So those are their options. Now, these three things basically throw stones at your oppositions. Guaranteed rent. Tenants do not guarantee rent. If a tenant loses their job, if something happens, they don't pay the rent. That's just what happens. Hands-off management. Again, tenants is quite a hands-on management experience. Zero fees and zero commission is throwing stones at an agent because an agent does this. They usually guarantee the rent. It's usually hands-off management. Traditional agents take a commission. So you basically say, I will guarantee rent, I will hands off manage it, zero fee, zero commission. Now, when it comes to it being an Airbnb, also known as service accommodation, also to the government, the official term is a furnished holiday let on FHL, then these are some more benefits you have. Now, when I was pitching this to landlord back in my glory days, where I still pitch it now, is we're dealing with high quality clients from the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, all of these places. We're dealing with luxury people. So we need to keep the property in a 5-star condition. It's going to be like a hotel. So I used to sell that to them. Regular inspections. If you want to come see it, you can come see it. So it's in good conditions. Now, this is expiring as of next month, April 2025. Well, it's being phased out slowly. But if you use your property as a furnished holiday let, you actually get to deduct 100% of your mortgage interest payment. So it's actually quite a good sale to landlords. If you can understand that, it will definitely give you benefit. If you don't understand that, search GB News landlords and then keep scrolling until you see my face. I spoke about on the news. Now let me tell you what you need to demonstrate before I tell you why it's not going to work for you. So you need to demonstrate experience, confidence, source of funds, existing companies, and build a relationship or rapport. Now, what do I mean? Now, if I owned a property, I wouldn't give it to a newbie just because they watched a few videos on YouTube, ironically, and now they want to do Airbnb. You need to have some sort of experience that shows your competence in it. Now, for me, before I ever took on my property, I was an apprentice. I was working with my mum for multiple years, basically managing inside the business. So I had a very good understanding of what goes into running the business. So I had experience when I was first pitching and asking to take on properties. And if you don't have experience directly, then usually you should get like a mentor or a coach. Well, when my mom was starting, she didn't just come out of the womb knowing how to do this. She had properties of her own, and then she had a mentor or coach, which is what most people start with, and is what gives most people the confidence. Like, you want to do this strategy you've never done before. Who's supporting you? Who's guiding you? Who's partnering with you? So usually, if you can demonstrate some sort of experience or mentor or coach or business partner, these will give people confidence. Again, confidence. Now, confidence is, like if you've got the gift of the gab and you can speak to people, then, you can really kind of sell anything. But if you don't have that confidence directly imbued in yourself, then the way you get it is, again, with experience. Like, I'm not confident to fly a plane, but I could probably speak to somebody on like, oh yeah, do you know what? I could definitely learn how to fly a plane because I just believe in myself. But do you know what makes you confident in flying a plane? Flying lessons. So get some confidence via experience, go get some training, go be around some people who do it, ask people questions who are doing it. Source of funds. Now, really, ultimately, this boils down to, are you going to be able to pay the rent? Now, when you're taking on a properties for guaranteed rent or whatever you may have at Airbnb rent to rent, you're basically taking on the liability of this person's mortgage or their financial costs, and you're going to guarantee that. Now, where is the money? Do you have the money? Are you going to make the money? What if it goes wrong? These are all the questions they're going to ask you. So usually when I start, you're going to want to start with 2, 3, 6, even sometimes 12 months rent up front. If you're an absolute beginner, I know a lot of people who I knew who were getting started, they started with things like 6 months rent up front, or they showed proof of funds of up to 100K. So don't, like, for minimum, you need to even do this. Even think about doing this. It's 5 to 10,000 pounds. Like, if you don't have that, stop thinking it. Wait to the end, and I'll tell you what better to do. But if you don't have 5 to 10,000 pounds, stop thinking about it. You're not there. You're not there. 5K is if you're a entrepreneur. I started my first self accommodation with 5 grand, and that's me being direct to the source, generating all the work myself, and having taken on a furnished property, which I had experience in. If you're not, you're at 10K. If you don't have that, wait to the end, I'll tell you. Existing company. Now, the longer your company's been around, the better. But if it's not, don't, like, it's flipping March. So if you just created a company in February or January or March itself, it's not really gonna, float well with a person. So existing company, if you've got a company, I don't care if it was established for something else, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, change the name or use it anyway. It just looks good if you had something that's established. Now, everything I said can be absolutely, you know, overthrown if you have these two. At the end of the day, you are selling something to somebody. You are saying, trust me, I can do this. And can you do it? Who knows until you try. Now, if you build good rapport with the person, which is basically making them like you, very simply, people will give you an opportunity. One of the first few deals I had, I just came with a confidence. I hadn't really done it before. I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was in the property saying, yeah, I'll do it. I can do it. I didn't know. Honest to God, I didn't know. The property didn't have doors in it because the people who were working on it, the builders, had left the landlord for some other job, and he just basically didn't want to deal with it anymore. So if I could take it on and get it stuck in and get it done, he'd give it to me. Did I know how I was going to do it? No. But did I say I could do it? Yes. Did I get it done? Of course I did. Now, he liked me, he believed in me, he trusted me, and I got the job done. So just because I built that relationship, I don't really have the extensive background of one of my first few properties, but my confidence and my ability to get things done, GTD, that's what guaranteed rent means as far as I'm concerned. Get things done, because sometimes you're going to have to cover that rent. And if you say you are, you better do. I don't care if you have to borrow money. Get the rent paid if you said you're going to do it. So GTD is get things done. So build that relationship, build that rapport, make them like you, trust you, and things will go further than you can expect. Now, let me tell you why things will not work against you. You're new. You've got no experience. You don't even know what you're doing. Like, you just want to make money, and you've seen that this is a good way to make money. It is. It is. There's a lot of money to be made. But if you don't have experience or knowledge of, one, how to get properties, or two, how to run them, then there's a good reason people are saying no to you. Like, for me, I don't have these issues because I'm experienced, I'm confident. And when a landlord's speaking to me, asking me questions, they can tell, like, I've been doing this for just as long as they have, if not longer. And if I haven't, I've got an extensive experience in a short time period of done it. I'm competent. So they don't bother asking me all these questions. I just, like, it's like I'm answering in my sleep, because, no offense, I've answered these questions so many times. I'm managing countless of properties, and I make sure over 30 to 50 grand rent gets paid every single month. So I really do this. So I don't have these issues or objections. It doesn't happen. Now, broke, if you don't have money, like, again, 10 grand, this is the minimum. This is the minimum. This is the minimum. If you're not close to 10 grand, you haven't even got the funds to do this. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. Now, that being said, I feel like I've given a very brief overview of what you say. Now, if we recap it, it's guaranteed rent. That's what you're saying. You're saying, look, I'm a company. I'm going to guarantee the rent. I'm going to take out an insurance scheme. I'm going to get a deposit. You're going to make sure no matter what, whether it's void or empty, you're going to pay the rent. That's one of the main selling points. You won't have to do anything. I'm going to take care of all the managing. Tap leaks, I've got it. The door creaks, I've got it. Handles need to be changed, I've got it. Hands off management. Zero fee, zero commission. I'm going to give you what the market rent is, and I'm not going to charge you any fees or commission. I'm doing a job of an estate agent. I'm going to use it as an Airbnb, furnished holiday let. I'm going to target very, very good clients. The property is going to be in immaculate condition. I'm going to take care of it. Now, I don't really recommend a beginner. I don't really recommend someone's first ever property strategy is Airbnb rent to rent. I really don't. I really don't. Some of that's coming from someone who's been doing it since 2016, and I've got multiple years of experience. I would recommend that if you really want to do Airbnb, you pitch the landlord on a management agreement. What's a management agreement? You basically say, I'll manage it as an Airbnb, and I'll take 15 to 20% of the revenue generated. But what's the difference between this? You're not guaranteeing the rent. You're running it, you're doing all the operations, but you're not guaranteed the rent. Now, this can either be, usually the landlord will invest in the furniture and stuff, and you just run it. You just do the operations. You're doing the hands of management, and then your pitch is here, you're giving them higher rent because you're managing it. But the benefit here is you're not tying yourself into a rent guarantee, which is the biggest thing you want to avoid if you're not confident. Cons, less money, which is why I don't do it. I don't do it because the money is not really worth it. Maybe you make up to £500 or something like that. Like for me, that's too much work or headache for like that. I wouldn't do that. So I would propose a management. Now that's if you're really passionate about Airbnb. Otherwise, I would recommend deal sourcing. Now, again, by the way, I should have said this at the start of the video, but yeah, I've got a full template on me calling landlords. So if you want that, just DM me on Instagram and I'll send that to you. But I recommend deal sourcing. Why deal sourcing? Because deal sourcing is a low cost strategy, which is just your compliance and education, which is like maybe £1,000 to £2,000. Low cost strategy to get money. We sell deals. Now you can find someone in established Airbnb and sell them a deal that works, sell them a property that works for £3,000. One-time fees. You know rental risk or liability, I should say. You don't have to guarantee any running costs. And the most important thing is you get experience, knowledge, and network. So basically, all the things that you lack that make it very difficult to start, you got no experience, no knowledge, and you're broke. Deal sourcing can help you that. Deal sourcing gives you an experience, and you can imagine telling the landlord, look, I've been passing properties on to investors for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. I've become really accustomed to kind of the best properties, and I'm very confident I can do this. And I've got people in my network who can easily support me. I've got a coach who's been teaching me how to deal source, and they've involved with properties as well. You've got the money because you've been selling deals. That it basically solves all your problem. Plus, you don't need to pony up 5 to 10 grand to get started in deal sourcing. So I don't recommend people to truly go involved with rent to rent Airbnb. I feel like some people can work. Listen, if you've got like cash, like if you've got 5 figures, you'll figure out, but if you haven't got that, then I wouldn't recommend it. I really wouldn't. I don't think it's a beginner strategy. I was doing it I took on my first, I said I'd say it in the video. So I'll tell you my first story of how I got it. It's kind of a long video, but my mom started in property in 2016. She started a service accommodation journey. Before this, she had buy-to-let properties. I was helping ad hoc between 2016 to 2018. 2018, I took a gap year. So we spent the whole year. That's when I went all in on helping with the business. I went to uni 2018 to 2021. I was ad hoc again. 2021, I graduated. I went all in on deal sourcing and still supporting the business. Then in about 2023, I took on my first SA, and that was 5 grand I had to put in. The rent was free. I paid the rent. I paid the deposit. That was 3,600. To be honest, I got in for 3,600. Maybe 1K for furnishing. It was kind of furnished, so I got in for cheap. But then my cost to get the deal was about £1,000 in my business, so it was about 5K. It probably did okay. Then I took another one. I did a JV. Then I took another one. Then I took another one. Then I really decided, you know what, I really prefer the hands-off model, which is social housing. But that's a story for another day. Passive income story for another day. So I would recommend you do what I did. Work with someone who's doing it, get that knowledge, get that experience, start on deal sourcing because you build that network knowledge and you get that money. Then take on your first service accommodation once you're making money from deal sourcing. That way, look, if it goes wrong in a month and you can't pay the rent, you cover it from deal sourcing. It happens, it's part of the game. So, but if you're just all in on that, or if you've got a job, you can do that too. But I recommend having that as your foundation, because even when you're finding the properties, you basically have to do what it takes to deal source, because you're not just going to call up a landlord, say all of this, and it's going to go. You're going to get 50 no's before you get one yes. So I would recommend you might as well start with deal sourcing, sell that, and do it. So that's the video. Hope that's been helpful. If not, then you weren't paying attention, because I really do this, and this is the back. And then, let me make my pitch. So I've got training. I coach people on exactly how to do this full time. Like I said, I've been running service accommodations. I do deal sourcing. I do all of these strategies. So people need support in getting involved with service accommodation, Airbnb, deal sourcing. I'll do this. Plus, when it comes to starting, I will teach you how to do it, go through the struggle, but I also give you deals. Like I get an umpteen amounts of deals. So my students have access to these deals if they want to sell them, if they want to invest in them, take them on for their own deals, Airbnbs, service accommodations, they can do so. So this is just a list of my deals for 1 month. Obviously, it's January, I got a list like this. February, I've got a list like this. So I will teach you how it works, and then I'll just give you access to a deal, and you won't need to pitch the landlord because I'll do it and I'll close it, and then I'll just support you on the journey. So if you're interested in that, just DM me on Instagram, ace_QK. If you want this document, I've got more organized documents than this, and I've got templates, contracts, resources of me calling landlords. So if you want that, just DM me on Instagram. That's ace_QK. Let me do that here. Ace_QK, or email me. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's I guess that's the coaching offerings. Ace_QK or aceqk1@gmail.com. Or then somewhere from here, you should be able to watch student success interview with everything I'm talking about: sourcing deals, closing deals, essays, and social housing. Otherwise, thanks so much. God bless you. Do have a great one. Thank you.